Okay, Rust has something called modules, and that is what we will take a look at right now. So in software engineering in general, there is something called encapsulation. That is the idea of hiding some part of your code and then revealing others. This is when you start talking about access modifiers and all that. So Rust has modules to control scopes and privacies. And then according to Rust, a module is a collection of items, functions, structs, threads, implementation blocks, and even other modules. So to give you an example, here we have the main function, which will indicate that this is a crate, okay, a binary crate. Okay, so you define a module by using the mod keyword, and then you provide a name. Let's just call this services. Okay, now pay attention that conventionally you should name modules using a snake case, usually starting with a small letter, and then inside here you can start defining a few things. Okay, it could be functions, structs, threads, etc. And let's start with the simplest things. Let's define a function. Let's just call it print service. Where we just print something to the terminal. Now we can no longer just call this function by just typing print service. It's not going to work because it is hidden inside this services module. Okay, so this is what is called encapsulation. This function here has been encapsulated inside this module. Okay, now in order to access this function, you have to go through the module. It's like namespaces in other languages. Okay, so what you can do here is to type in services dot. You use these curly braces, use this double colon to access the function, but still it is still highlighting it as an error. And if you hover over that, it will say function print service is a private function, which makes sense. So here is another tip. In Rust, by default, everything is private. Even this module is private right here. You can't just import it to anywhere. Okay, even this function inside here is also private at this point, as it's pointing out. So what you can do is make this function public, okay, by using the pub keyword. If you come from other languages, you probably know about public, making things public, private, and then protected. So in Rust, you make a function, a struct, or a module public by using the pub keyword. So we've just made this print service function public, and then you can then call it from anywhere. And in fact, if you run this code, this will be printed to the terminal, the print service. Now another thing I have to point out here is this. Why is it that when we run the code and this main function is run, and then we are able to call this function? And the idea is this: inside this package, when you compile it, Rust will automatically look inside the src folder by default and then see if there is a main.rs file. If it exists, then it will know it's a library crate, and then create an executable for it and run it. However, if it was lib.rs inside here, it will know that it is a library crate and will no longer compile it. Now modules can also contain other modules. In fact, if you want to nest your code a little bit deeper, you can even do that here. For example, we can create another module in here and then call it layer 1, for example, and then we'll open it and then move this print service function inside it. Now we have a module inside another module, and so we can no longer access it just this way. Okay, and by the way, pay attention that we are using double colon to access this. And in Rust, there are many places where you use double colons. If you're accessing an associative function inside a struct, you use double colons. Okay, you can check out this video by the right, where I explained in detail what methods and associative functions are. Also, when you're accessing variants of an enum, you also use this double colon. You can also check out this video where I explained enums in Rust. So since we have this function inside another module, we have to access it. Okay, so what we can do here is do the same thing. We type in layer since layer 1 and then access the print service. But now there is a problem, and the problem here is that it says module layer 1 is private. Okay, so it can no longer access this layer 1. It cannot access this layer 1 because it's private, so you have to make it public again. Everything is private in Rust, so once we've made it public by using the pub keyword, Rust is now happy again and we're able to access it. So, and now you might be asking, why is it that this one is not public? This top module is not public, but it's still able to access it. And that is because it is directly under this crate. Okay, so you can access it directly. However, these ones are inside the module, so you cannot access it. By the way, if this module was to be inside another file this way and it's not public, you won't be able to access it from here. And I'm going to show you a few examples in a second. Now, another tip I have to give you now is another tip. So here is another tip. Even though you can go on and on to group your code inside layers and layers of module, it's not that recommended. In fact, once you get to about 3 layers, it's okay. Don't go any further, because it might start you can start getting confused. So now, right now we have all this module inside this main file. How about moving them in a separate file? Okay, and by the way, you can also have structs inside here. You can create a struct and then call it user service. Okay, so we now have this struct defined inside this service layer. Now, if you try to get access to this, if you try to get an instance of user service, you can try to get an instance of the user service by saying let user service, and then we try to access user service. And since it's inside this module, we can go through that module using our double curly braces to access user service. Okay, now when we do that, Rust is start pointing this out as an error, and then if you look closely to say user service is private. Okay, in order to solve that, all we have to do is to make this user service public, and then we're able to access it. So in the next video, we are going to look at how to move this module into different files, and then manage them from there. That way our code is going to be more organized, because you're not going to have all these inside one file, because at some point our structs, all the codes that we're going to be adding inside the module will continue to grow, and that is not a healthy way of organizing it. So make sure you like the video and subscribe. So that you get notified when I release new videos. We release new videos about Rust every day on this channel. Thanks for watching.